Okay, welcome everybody. Before I start, I should say that today I'm a bit sad and happy at the same time. I don't know if you know, but yesterday we finished a course which has been really an adventure for all of us. We had 140 people that were with us for 7 weeks of training, and it just finished. But now already today we are announcing a new course, so that makes me happy, and it makes me even more happy to see some familiar names among you. So it seems that some of you will continue the journey with us and consider to follow this new training. And that's exactly what we will do in this 1 hour webinar. We will introduce you to the new training. We will already give you a taste of the content, and we will also show you the platform. That's what we will do in this 1 hour. What is this training about? Well, it's about this EU Clean Energy package, and there it is. You can see that massive package, thousands of pages. So basically, you have two options. You can read it on your own. In Christmas time, we will have a lot of time to read. But maybe it's more interesting to join an online community of people that is equally interested as you in this package and that would like to discuss and learn more about the different perspectives on this package. And that's exactly what we will do. We have a training that is ready for you to start in January, and it will finish in March. And that's what we're talking about in this coming hour. What will we do? Well, we will give you first a bit of background and give you a bit more details on the scope of the training. Then we will explain what we mean with a community, because that's really what we create online. It's a community more than a training. Then Chiara will explain how now at FSR in this training you are able to tailor your learning journey, what that means. And then Dani will give you a guided tour of the online platform, so you will already see that it's there waiting for you. And after that, I will come back and I will give you a content teaser, so you have an idea of how we treat topics inside that training. Okay, let's dive into the background and the scope. Of course, many of you are already using the chat, and please do. If we see questions there popping up, we might address them during our talk, or we treat them at the end, because we will make sure there is time for Q&A. So, about the background. Well, this training is another step in a partnership that we have now with these three institutions. On the one hand, we have InnoEnergy, the European Institute for Innovation and Technology. They are investing in the energy transition. They do that through research, they do that through startups, and now also more and more in executive education. And we have been selected as their partner to develop a new executive education portfolio, basically, with different elements. And one of these elements will be the regulatory online training we're talking about today. And another element will be a business training that will be provided by Vlerick Business School. And that training will have different nuggets, different elements that we will introduce to you at a later stage. Now, what have we already done besides preparing? I mean, how did we come to that online training? Basically, we have been doing workshops. In that workshops, we've played a game on this EU Clean Energy package, and this way we've also already interacted with a lot of different stakeholders on the different topics in the package. And here you see some abstracts from these sessions. We did one in Bonn with RESCOOP, the organization, the European Association of Local Energy Communities. We reached out to the European Association of Energy Storage, and just last week we did a session with Eurelectric. Now, in those sessions, we talked about the package itself, but also what it means in terms of change for these companies. So we already start to get a better idea of what the management skills and capabilities are that you will need to be successful in the transition. And that's also what we will pick up in later trainings. Now, back to the regulatory training. So just to get into the interactive online spirit, I would like you to express what you think about this package. So it has many nicknames. Some people are still referring to it as the winter package because it was published in winter. But other nicknames are the 2030 package, the fourth package, or the New Deal for consumers. And if you don't like it, you can select bad deal. So all of you now have a time to vote, and this way you get also familiar with this classroom environment that we use. Okay. Most of you have voted, so we can share the results. So most are saying fourth package, and then second is 2030 package, and then for some it's really the New Deal, and nobody is in a bad mood today, so no bad deal. That's good. So let me just use that to introduce the package a bit more with a few slides. So of course it's a combination of the first three for sure, and the last one is if you do not like certain aspects. But why is it the 2030 package? Well, we had already targets at the European level for what we wanted to do together in terms of energy and climate for 2020. Now, 2020 is coming very close, so it was very necessary to start thinking about what our ambitions are for 2030. And there has been a process that led to this document here, the 2030 Energy Strategy, which was communicated in 2014. And in there, you already had ideas for targets. So in terms of greenhouse gas emissions and renewable energy and energy savings. Around energy savings, there were already some discussions between the European Council and the Commission at that time. Should it be 27 or 30%? If you look now at the current proposal of European Commission, it's actually back at 30%. And might still change depending on the negotiations with the European Parliament and the Council. So that's one discussion that is taking place. And the other discussion is, like most of you said, that we are indeed, as part of that package, we have the fourth big change, I would say, to the internal market rules. Fourth, just to remind you, it started in 1996, then 2003, 2009, and what we see now is a fourth package that will probably be adopted by 2019, and that has, again, just like the previous one, a combination of a directive and a regulation. And of course, in the slipstream of that internal market upgrade, we also have these 2020 targets. So what else? Well, in 2015, when there was a big consultation organized over summer on this package, then it was framed or introduced as a new deal for consumers. And that's why that's also a nickname. And it's definitely true that there are some provisions in there that are really empowering customers. And that's why, this name has been used already a while. Now, what's really in there? So it's a package, so it's more than one legal document. And here are the list of regulations and directives included. So the first two that I put in bold are more internal market related, and those are the two we will focus on in this training. It's the first edition of the FSR EU Clean Energy Package training. So our ambition is in the future editions to include gradually the whole package, but just so that you know, in the first one, it's only these two. Well, only. That's already a massive group of topics, you will see. More specifically, we sort of reduced that package, or these two pieces of that package, to 3 themes and 17 topics. And that's then also the structure of our course. So in week 1, the theme is ensuring the internal market level playing field. I mean, the completion of the internal market is a sort of target that is always running ahead, because there are new challenges, new changes, and one of these topics is, of course, the fact that at national level we have capacity mechanisms being introduced, and then the question is how to deal with that from an internal market perspective. So that's week 1. Week 2 is the fact that You know, when we started the whole liberalization process, the distribution level was not that important, so it was almost not treated in these legislations. And now that the whole system is decentralizing, of course, distribution is much more important, and that's why in this current package there is a lot of topics that relate to this decentralization and increased role of DSOs and distributed energy resources. Then week 3 is really devoted to topics related to the New Deal. So that is smart metering, data management, demand response, and also local energy communities. So that's how we group the topics. And towards the end of this webinar, I will give you a taste of one or two of these topics. Before I hand over to my colleagues, just quickly, what do we mean with community? So there is different elements of this course that you will be able to contribute to. We will have a course text, and that will be made open in Google Docs, so you can really do track changes, you can add comments, and other participants will be able to see how you worked on that text. Then every week we will have a forum discussion, and all of that takes place before we come together like we are here now live. So you will do that all together, and there will also be a general Q&A section, because there is a lot of issues and we will treat as many as possible. But if you have a question related to something we did not yet treat, you can put that on that forum, and participants will also help you find the answers. These discussions, as I said, will then sort of lead to a live class that is the wrap-up of the week, and that's what we will do in week 1 to week 3. Then in the last 2 weeks, you will work on what we call mastery challenges, if you want to. And that will be group work, and that will also feed into the panel debates we will have in week 5. And Chiara and Dani will tell you a bit more on that. Chiara.
Thank you, Leo. Yes, I'll take the floor. Yes, as you said, these are the main activities, but what we would like to precise since the beginning is that with this course, and it's not the first time because we started with the network codes course, we've gone one step ahead in personalizing the training courses. So what you can do in this course is to tailor your learning journey, choosing between 3 learning levels. These levels are not strict in the sense that you can also switch your path during the course if you see that you need more time to do it, or you decide to go back to a previous level. But in case you decide to take, for instance, the first level, you will have a different estimated workload. If you see that you can commit to this course more time and that you have more experience, you can decide to go for a more advanced level, in this case the advocate or the master. And we have a different estimated hours to work on this course. If you take the basic level, what you are expected to do every week in a typical lesson which lasts 1 week is a series of quizzes. We also expect you to interact in a weekly live class we have. And by the way, it's also possible to watch recording for these classes in case you cannot attend. But there is a fixed calendar since the beginning of the course, so it's also easy to save the dates and be able to attend the 1 hour weekly live class. In case you want to go a bit ahead, we have the advocate level, which asks you also to be engaged in the forum discussions that Leo was mentioning. So we have a weekly debate forum, but also a more general forum where you are also invited to contribute and to exchange your knowledge with your peers. So in case you have more experience, you can also decide to be the one to share knowledge and to help the others on a specific topic. Another way to contribute in an active way to this course is the course text. So you can also edit the course text with us. And in case you want to go really up, as Leo mentioned, we offer you the possibility to work on a paper. It's a group work, it's a group activity on a paper based on a real life case that will also be discussed live in the final panels we have with top experts in the field. So that's your big chance in this sense. Now, because we talk so much, we would also like to show you something, and for Daniela is certainly the best. I'm just switching the layout for her in order to share the screen. And when you're ready, I mute my.
Okay, so this sounds a bit complicated, but it's not. So I'm going to quickly show you our course platform. Of course, just a sneak peek because we cannot show you too much. We have to keep a bit of suspense. I see that we have some participants from the network code, so they can also tell you here in the chat what they think about the course and the network codes, because the template is the same. We really think it worked. And about the platform. So if you join our course, this is our course platform. It's very simple to navigate and straightforward. As you can see, there are 5 lessons, and each of the lessons has different topics. All the topics are structured in the same way. We always tell you what are the expectations, what you are expected to do during this lesson. You have to test your knowledge with some quizzes. There are some reading material and the course text that Leo mentioned before, where we invite you also to contribute to the course test. So this course is really something that we want you also to share your knowledge with us. So you are always free to tell us what you think and also to give suggestions inside the course text that we will take into consideration. There is always a join the discussion where we invite you to talk with your colleagues, and the final quiz. And of course, the live class always at the end of each lesson. So I will just quickly show you the test your knowledge part, where you always have a short video. In this case, it's a video of Leo. I think it's still loading. Yes. So here it is. You have to watch the video. And then there are some quizzes. In these quizzes, you're not expected to have a grading, let's say. You can retake them as many times as you want. So this is really to test your knowledge until you feel you can do them, until you feel comfortable to go to the final quiz, and there you can receive a badge. So as Chiara and Leo said before, there are the mastery challenges. So what are these mastery challenges? It's a place where you will work with your colleagues. So in this case, we have 2 mastery challenges. I'm showing you one of them on local energy communities. You have here a video, I won't show you, from Josh Roberts from Rescoop. And here we explain you what is expected you to do. And then we will put you in groups after, if you tell us, okay, I want to do this challenge, so you are free to do it or not. We will assign you to a group and you will work with your group there. So I'm going to briefly show you how our group works. This was from the network also, so let's not show too much. But as you can see, people here are talking with each other. You can see here who is online. So also this platform is very interactive. You can talk with your colleagues and with us. And here is the document where they were working on their mastery challenge, and they can work together in the platform on a document. We also have our forums where we invite you to share your knowledge with us. So here it's me asking you to invite you to let us know if you have any doubt or if you want to discuss any topic. Leo will always check the forums and will bring them to all the live classes, so your contributions will be taken in consideration. And here again is a forum for from our network codes, where you can see many of the participants talking with each other and sharing knowledge with each other, which really works well. So as I told you, the platform is very social interactive. So you can find here all the course participants. You can go on the forums, you can talk with them, you can send them private messages like here. I can write a message to Chiara. Hello. So yeah, and again, this is a template already tested in other courses that we really think it will work. So we hope to see you online in January. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Chiara, and thank you also, Peter, for as one of our alumni to confirm. And also, I see that Kostas is saying that we improved a lot since 2 years ago, and I think that's really true. Huh? I mean, online training is something FSR is doing for several years now, and we really are on the edge of always innovating. So if you know us from a few years ago, it's time to see the new FSR online, I would say. Okay, so this we already covered, I guess. Uh, or do you still want to say something on this? No, huh? That's okay. Huh? Okay, so we wanted to give you also a content teaser, right? Not only talk about how the training looks like. So one of these quizzes questions could be something like that. So one topic we're talking about here is smart meters. That's an important topic inside the package. So what do you think is currently proposed by Commission? Is it a full rollout of smart meters by all member states? Is it a full rollout only if the CBA is positive? Or do you think it's a full rollout if CBA positive and customers are also entitled to a smart meter within 3 months after their individual request? So will I finally get a smart meter in my home, yes or no? Because in Belgium we didn't have a rollout. Okay. Broadcast. So I see most of you got it right. It's the third option basically. So the second option is what we had in the third package. In the third package, member states were basically had to do a CBA, and if the CBA was negative, they could say we don't do a rollout. Now they can still do that, say we don't do a rollout based on a CBA. But then me, individually, I could say, hello, I really want a smart meter. And if the text stays as it is, it will really give me then the right to have one within 3 months. Of course, that will be very challenging to implement. But still, it shows that the Commission is really willing to go forward in giving us more rights and as a customer, right? So also something to say is, like Dani said, test your knowledge. These quizzes for us is not to evaluate you. It's really to let you know which part of the text, of the legal text, you still have to read. So it's a kind of guided reading, like if on the platform you would have this question wrong, it would tell you exactly which part you have to read, and you will have a hyperlink to that article of the text. So it really allows you very fast to know what you already know and what you still have to read. Now I'm not doing that because I'm continuing with the webinar. I don't want you to start reading that part of the text. So another element, as Dani and Chiara said, is these debates that we have online. So an example of a debate could be, what do you think is the main benefit of a smart meter for customers if they would get one? Is it more that they are better informed? Will it really lead to price reductions for customers? Or is it not necessarily about paying less for the same, but about having more options, right? Maybe paying more, but having more choice, more innovation, more better adapted services and products. So yeah, we are broadcasting. So for you, it's not necessarily price reduction. It's really the more information and the more innovation and choice. What we would again then do on the platform is allow you to express why you chose one of the other. Because of course you will say it's a combination maybe of the three, or it's a combination of the first two or the last two. And what interests us more is also your arguments, your way of thinking. And that's what we will typically share in this kind of a course. And then I will try to add the academic perspective. And me, I would say that at least also, yeah, there is an argument to be said that it will be about more innovation and choice. That's why I have a follow-up question for you, which is also a typical debate question, is where will these main innovations be, or choice? Is it more retail innovation? Is it innovation coming from new players? Or is it the distribution system operator that will do the innovation? So where do you see the most important innovations? Okay. So it's a combination, and I also agree there is an argument for all three. Which will be more relevant is more difficult, but at least, and that's what I will do now in the follow-up questions, what the Commission has done is to have additional articles in this package that will try to enable these three types of innovation. So one type of innovation that will be possible more is also that you will have more information. So that will definitely be the case. And there is an article, and that's what I'm asking here. So who will get access to that information? There is a list of actors in the legislation, and one of these that is mentioned here is not on that list. So who of you knows which is the one that is not mentioned explicitly in the legislation? So you can only answer one because all of them are there except one.
I will wait to
Yes.
broadcast this one so that it's interesting.
Yeah,
We
let's
go.
go. So it's actually local energy communities. So you could argue that they are not excluded because if you say other parties which provide energy or other services to customers, that could include local energy communities, but they're not specifically mentioned separately, and all the others are. So it really shows that I mean the whole spirit of this package is really to have innovation from new players also, right? New players like aggregators, energy service companies that are possibly going to drive this innovation, but they need access to the data. So at least it's already foreseen that they will be an eligible party. A next topic I wanted to illustrate to you is regarding retail innovation. So regarding retail innovation, there is an article in the package that requires retailers to do some innovation, namely to offer dynamic pricing contracts, which will be enabled by smart meters. And then the question is who will monitor that? No, because okay, the package says, dear retailers, you have to offer dynamic contracts, but what if they don't? Or what if they do, but they offer them at very strange prices so that nobody actually chooses this kind of contracts? So there is some monitoring foreseen. And then the question is, who is going to be in charge of that monitoring? Is it member states through their NRAs? Is it the Smart Energy Demand Coalition? Is it Acer? What do you think? This one was an easier one, I see. Huh? So we can broadcast. So Smart Energy Demand Coalition is already monitoring this. They have very good reports that I would recommend you to read. That will definitely be part of our course text also. But of course, also it's logical that NRA's member states would get involved. It's not Acer. Because this is a part of the directive, basically. So in the directive, there will still be a bigger role for member states and also national implementations of these provisions. Now, The last one was, as an option, was innovation by DSOs. And also regarding that, what could be the innovation DSOs do? Well, they could maybe change the way they charge, design their distribution tariffs. And regarding that, what do you think the directive says? So which of the following principles are applicable to network charges for active customers as written in the package? And here you can answer more than one. Okay. So it's true. The third one is the obvious one. The second one is I would say more will have a bigger impact, will trigger more change, because the first one I mean the third one you would say of course they have to be cost reflective, transparent, and non-discriminatory. But the fact that they will also have to account separately for electricity injected into the grid and electricity withdrawn from the grid, that already requires more metering, right? So it does connect very well with the smart meter topic. The question is whether or not that also abolishes net metering, which is a practice that is done in most countries. The fact that your volumes that are injected and withdrawn are sort of accumulated over a certain period, and that determines how much you pay for the grid. So it's not necessarily abolishing it, but it does suggest that we go in the direction away from net metering. So meaning that the first principle is actually not something that is included in the package. I think actually we will move away from net metering. Okay, so that's it for what we prepared as a short content teaser. Of course, inside the platform there is much more, because I told you we have these 3 themes, 17 topics, and on each topic, like smart metering is a topic, there is many dimensions to the topic, right? So that's it for what we prepared. We wanted to talk for roughly half an hour, meaning that now you can ask any question you want regarding the practicalities, the platform, the content. Go ahead and ask us in the chat box. And if all is clear, fantastic. And see you in January. Okay. So Vlerick in this online training is not involved. So the Vlerick is part of the bigger project, right? So as I said in the very beginning, this project with InnoEnergy, this collaboration, will have a regulatory component which is done by FSR, and this online training is that regulatory component, and it will have a business component, and that business component will lead to additional trainings that we will announce early next year. But thank you for that question.
And maybe because we are in this room, we can also make it more clear that the live class is something like that. In fact, it's a 1-hour session happening every week. And you will be, like now, able to chat, to interact with us via the chat. You will have slides, you will have polls, and you will have your instructors and facilitators on the webcam.
The difference is that I will bring much more content, right?
Much more. And also, no, also okay, so then let's say it all. This class will start from your input. That's why we ask you to comment in the forum, to join the forum activity before the live class happens, so that the slides your instructor will prepare are really based on your input and on your contribution. So there is a part of the content that really comes from you.
Yeah. And if you missed something, please ask, because I know that we give you a lot of information in half an hour. So don't worry to ask something that we already said, just to clarify it again. I'm happy to. And I see Daniela already answered the question in the chat box.
Oh, the same. Yes. So you have the hours per week that we calculated, and we might be wrong because, of course, everyone is different, but this is our rough estimation. And as we said, you can also switch from one level to another one. What is important is that if you are aiming to the certificate of, for instance, the advocate certificate, you have to accomplish all the activities of the native and plus what is required for the advocate, and the same for the master. It's like a Chinese, how is it called in English?
Um, regarding
Russian. Not Chinese.
regarding Ilya's question, there is currently a competition organized by InnoEnergy for a few free seats, right? Um, so that one you can find on our social media, a reference to that one. And if you want your association to sponsor you, you should talk to them. Huh?
I posted the form of the competition and the text that explains it better immediately.
Maybe one more comment on the workload. You could also say that you want to be very active in one week because one of the three themes is really important for you, and you know, and less in the other week. So you can really switch levels, just like Chiara said, depending on where is more important for your job, or and even if you don't take the mastery challenges, you can still follow the debates, right? So it's not that you are excluded from any of the content. And also what we've noticed now with the previous course is that even when the course finishes, we still allow the platform, you know, we keep the platform open for participants that still need to catch up. You will have a few weeks more access to the course.
I'm posting the fees as well because they ask. No, it's okay, and they are available in the on the training page, of course. So it can be misleading because they're all attached. The general one is 700 and the students one is
And there is a 10% discount for early registrations, right?
Yes, Daniela posted, very good. So we have an early bird discount until the 18th of December. And we have free seats for on every online course for our donors. Costas, it means that you, in the registration form, you will be asked, if you selected the student option, you will be asked to upload your certificate or even the, you know, sometimes you can print something, a declaration from your university, so you have to upload a PDF. Not sure what you mean, that in January you want to be anymore? Can you?
It's good, Danny, that you also mentioned that. So there are several of our alumni here from the course that just finished. We will, you know, offer them also a special discount because they've been so good in that other course. We would like to bring them to the next course. Exactly.
And to Brussels next week. Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice question, Jan. Thanks for asking that. Because it's true, this training starts from the proposal of the Commission. The quizzes are focused on the Commission texts, but what we will do in the live classes is exactly go into also what's happening in the Parliament and the Council. So we're already looking at the amendments and all that. So we've done that also in the previous training on network codes, where the quizzes were on the network codes themselves, but while the course was running, there were actually methodologies being published which are about the implementation of the code, and we were following them and bringing them to the live classes. So we will do the same. Also, I think that even if this text is not yet fully voted, the topics are the same, the controversies will remain. You know, maybe here and there a paragraph will change, but what this training is also on the level of making you understand what are the main issues, what, you know, why does it matter. And of course, people like you that are following these debates can contribute, and other people will contribute. The great thing about having a lot of people online at the same time is that the joint knowledge is really big. We've noticed that in the network codes. So it's really about you also sharing with each other.
Here they seem interested in the network codes course, Leo. Would you like to anticipate anything about
Yeah,
the
so the next
edition?
edition will be October next year. Huh? So every year we will do the network codes training and we will do the EU Clean Energy Package training. So on both, we will really make sure that we're up to date with the latest developments and adapt the course accordingly. To answer Luca, so yes, so the EU Clean Energy Package has about 8 or 9, depending on if you count the eco design decision texts, and we are currently focusing on 2 of them in the first edition. But next year, not next year, the year after, 2019, we want to include the RES directive and probably also the governance regulation. Those are the 2 that are high on my list to develop next. And probably then also the energy efficiency. So if you join us now, we will already allow you then the next year to take only the part that is new, right? So people, the early movers, will be able to enter the course also in the next edition to get the additional content as we will develop it.
Again, tailor-made and modular courses.
So keep on asking questions because you're really helping us to clarify many things. And jokes are welcome too, huh? About worms. Very welcome.
Of course. And of course, the reason why Daniel and I are here is because you can always, now you start to know us and you can always message us for questions about the course. So we can offer our support from now before you become a participant till the end when you become a former
Besides the
participant.
3 of us, there will be 4 additional people involved to help us stay up to speed with the content. So in each live class, there will be an additional researcher for the class together with me, and we have somebody extra that is really into the course text. So you will meet these researchers also in the course. So it's really a whole team, basically.
Maybe universal access, I can share here.
So on the question of Marine, yeah. Well, poverty is one of the provisions on vulnerable customers, and energy poverty is one of the articles that we will treat in the course. Yeah. So it's one of the 17 topics. that are included. There are no additional questions. We give them one more minute and.
I think, yes, sure. Well, maybe we are good.
Yeah,
And again,
exactly.
you can always email us. And you can see the URL. It's also clickable actually. So you find the website and the training page in the slides. Thank you. Okay, we will soon share also the recording of this little event demo webinar, and which you will find again on the
Thank you
web
all.
page of this event. Thank you all. Thank you, Leo. Thank you,
Ciao,
to the
ciao.
audience. See you next time.